Hi guys, it's Josh Lloyd here getting ready for NBA on MLK Day, Monday. Big action, 9 games on. It's your DraftKings first look. Hit the subscribe button down below, hit the thumbs up, and hit the bell. Join the notification gang as we go over these 9 games in the NBA. Now, because it is Martin Luther King Day, the games are spread all throughout the day, so we don't have a 9-game slate. We've got multiple mini slates, a 3-game early slate, a 4-game late slate on DraftKings, little showdowns all over the place. We're going to cover the 2 major slates, the 3-game morning slate and then the 4-game later slate. So let's talk about those ones right now. And to start off this 3-game slate, the early one, it is 3 games, of course, because it's a 3-game slate. We've got the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Atlanta Hawks, the Pistons and the Heat, and then the Spurs and the Blazers. They're your 3 games. Early on here, looking at the Wolves and the Hawks, there's no Karl Anthony Towns, no Juancho Hernan-Gomez, no Rick Rubio. And for the Hawks, there's no Danilo Gallinari, there's no Bogdan Bogdanovic, and Cam Reddish is currently listed as questionable. Josh Okogie is at 3,500. For the Wolves, he's going to start. Now, whether he racks up any numbers or not remains to be seen. He hasn't been that great, but 19 fantasy points last game in 27 minutes. He's yet to get a steal this season as well, and this is a guy that can get maybe 2 steals a game. So there is some value, I think, upside for him. While Trae Young, we know Trae Young's been struggling. He's at 9,400. The defensive matchup here is pretty good for Young, so that's why I'd look to him. And Clint Capella without Karl Anthony Towns there, and you're having to deal with Ed Davis and Naz Reid. I think Capella at 75 looks pretty good. I don't know what they're going to do at power forward, the Wolves, but Jared Vanderbilt's at 4,300, and I do think he's at least a worthwhile GPP guy. His recent numbers have not been stellar. Let's not put too much of a bow on it. 7 points, 14 points, 5 points. He did 4 games ago have a 30-point performance, and that's what we're banking on for upside there at 4,300 for Jared Vanderbilt. D'Angelo Russell's at 8,600. I reckon it might be just a little bit on the high side. And Johnny Collins at 72 has really been struggling, but the Wolves' defense is trash. So if you want to have a look at someone as a GPP guy, I don't mind Collins at that 7,200 mark. I don't love it, but I also don't mind it. I think there is some, you could see the pathway for how that can become a value play there for John Collins. The next game that we take a look at here on MLK Day is the Detroit Pistons and the Miami Heat. The Heat, they do have Goran Dragic back, they do have Bam Adebayo back, but they don't have Jimmy Butler, while we know that Killian Hayes is out for Detroit. Dragic is at 6,100. He played 31 minutes in his first game back and had 30 fantasy points. Now, 6,100 is not the greatest salary, but I do like this matchup quite a bit for Dragic, and I like it a lot for Bam Adebayo at 8,800. Without Butler, he's going to handle the ball more. He's going to have more opportunities to get assists, and there is also the possibility that Tyler Hero isn't playing. He's at 7,300. I wouldn't want to use Hero at 7,300, but his absence will really help Bam Adebayo. Jeremy Grant is pushing up to 8,200, rightfully so, because he's just absolutely dominating almost every game. 58 last game. He gets 40s like they're nobody's business, really. Like, he's had, in the last 10 games, he's had 3 games under 40 in the last 10 games. Like, really strong numbers for Jeremy Grant, just continuing to make everyone, me included, who criticise his contract look foolish. Derrick Rose at 5,500 is a GPP guy, but someone I want to look at is KZ Okpala, who put up some really big numbers last game as a spot starter. He's at 3,200. He had, in that start, 19 points, which at 3,200 is great value. I'd be okay with going with him. I think he can do better than that even, a higher level of production. While everyone will be off Kelly Olynyk because he had 11 points last game. I'm not totally off him. The salary's not super appealing at 5,800, but I do also think there is some value in getting back on Kelly Olynyk because a lot of people are going to be fading him after that performance last game. The last game of this slate is the San Antonio Spurs and the Portland Trail Blazers. We know there is no CJ McCollum. There is no use of Nurkic for Portland, so there are going to be opportunities for others. We don't know who the starters will be, but you'd have to assume that Gary Trent will just slide in for CJ, and then Anthony Simons and Rodney Hood will pick up Trent's slack on the second unit, while Carmelo Anthony gets more shots. Enes Kanter will be the starter for Nurkic, and Harry Giles, that's the guy. Harry Giles moves into the starting lineup into the rotation as the backup center. Trent's at 4,000. That's really hard to go past. Now, we know Gaz can be pretty hot and cold, but if he's hot, he smashes that number. So we do like him quite a bit. I like Carmelo at 4,400, and I am not someone who likes Carmelo Anthony normally. And at 4,400, that looks all right to me. And Kanter, all the way up at 6,300. Now, Enes Kanter was great last game. 51 fantasy points. He had 5 blocks and 2 steals, so that's not going to come. So let's take those 5 steals out. Let's take those 2 steals out. And he's still giving you 34, 35 points, which is a decent amount of value at a $6,300 price tag. The matchup looks pretty nice for him. Lillard's at 99. That should be an absolute cash lock, in my opinion, with CJ out. Lillard's going to get every shot possible pretty much, and he's going to have every opportunity to run the offense. LaMarcus Aldridge has been terrible for the Spurs. I don't want to use him. He's at 6,400. DeJounte Murray is too high at 81, and I think Keldon at 7,000 is probably a little bit too high. People will be looking at Jakob Poeltl, who last game played 30 minutes and put up a really, really big performance, 40 DraftKings points. I don't trust 30 minutes from Jakob Poeltl, but at 3,900, there is at least a level of intrigue there. I'm not sure he's the best option, but there's clear flyer type value in what Gaz can bring, or not Gaz, what Jakob Poeltl can bring, what Big Yak can do for us at that sort of salary. That's where the appeal lies. Again, I wouldn't be trusting it. I'm not thinking that he's definitely coming in and playing more minutes than LaMarcus Aldridge by any stretch. Now, there is a game in the middle there. It's the Phoenix Suns and the Memphis Grizzlies. It's only covered as a showdown so far, so we're going to just cover the last 4 games of the day now here. And the first one we look at is the Milwaukee Bucks. They take on the Brooklyn Nets in this game. Kyrie Irving is questionable. Now, his return will have an impact on James Harden and Kevin Durant, pretty obviously. The Bucks are 2.5-point favorites here, and the total is 238. Giannis Antetokounmpo is 10,400. I really like that for Giannis. Yes, some of his numbers, his rebounds are way down, his free throws are atrocious, but I like that in a matchup which should be close. I don't particularly like the 4,800 for DeAndre Jordan. His minutes went way down last game, and I can see them not utilizing him too much. Kyrie's at 91. Really tough to use him, especially we don't know the fit with him and Harden, and if he's even going to play. Well, Harden at 10.8, he was just back at his best last game. It might be fade territory for Harden. In fact, I'd probably go off of him onto Yanni, especially if Irving is playing. If Irving isn't playing, I'd use Harden there, no worries. Brook Lopez at 5,600 is a rock-solid floor type of a guy who's... I'll just move that little warning out of my way. Let's put Brook Lopez on there, and I'll show you exactly... Get that warning off. I'll show you exactly what Lopez has been doing, but he's just been solid. 31, 33, 23. At 5,600, I'm okay with that level of production. Drew Holiday's at 72. Similarly, not a bad floor guy, although I think there's probably better guys out there. Durant's at 10-1, and I'd only feel comfortable using Durant if Kyrie is out, but he put up some big numbers last time out alongside Harden, and I'd feel okay about him doing that again. I just wouldn't want to do it if the 3 of them are playing, because we just don't know how that's all going to work, and there's a big element of risk in using those players. Next up is a game where the Raptors are taking on the Mavericks. The Mavericks are on a back-to-back. I'm going to be under the assumption that Kristaps Porzingis isn't playing. We know that Dorian Finney-Smith, Josh Richardson, Maxi Kleber, and Dwight Powell are out. Jalen Brunson should be returning, but we have to assume on a back-to-back that Porzingis isn't playing after just returning from knee surgery. Josh Green has a chance to get another start here. Oh, actually, the one we don't know, Tim Hardaway is questionable, and if he is out, you're going to get Josh Green playing some decent starters minutes. Now, whether that translates to anything good, I don't know. He played 32 minutes today and had 9 DraftKings points, but he's at least a GPP option. While Chris Boucher is at 7,100. Boucher has been putting up big scores, 38 in 38 in his last game, 49 the one before that, 40 the one before that, 38 the one before that. No reason for me to think that Boucher doesn't play 30-plus minutes and get good numbers. While Luka Doncic at $11,000, he is actually rolling. 75 average over the last 3, 72 average over the last 5. Donk is putting up some really big numbers. He should be a 60-point guy, and if you don't want Harden or Durant, Doncic is the superior option out of those guys. Van Vliet's at 7,900. The shot has been a little bit off of Fred of late. I'm okay with going with him here, especially against a team that could be worn down a little bit from the back-to-back. Siakam at 84 is a little bit too high. Norm Powell at 48 is just your GPP sort of guy. While James Johnson at 5,000, maybe. Things could line up for him with absences to Porzingis and Hardaway and Kleber, maybe Hardaway and Kleber and Finney-Smith and Powell as well, but hardly the most reliable option. Same as spending 5,800 on Willie Cauley-Stein. That is not something that I would call reliable at all. No spread or total out for that one, nor is there for the Houston Rockets taking on the Chicago Bulls, which is your next game here. The Bulls are also on a back-to-back. Christian Wood's at 8,900, and I love that because John Wall is out. It does look like Boogie Cousins is back, but John Wall is out. But the Rockets are also going to be welcoming back Eric Gordon and Victor Oladipo for his first game. Now, Oladipo is, I don't believe, listed here. They haven't transferred him across, so you won't be able to use him on DraftKings. So that's worth mentioning, but it doesn't mean he doesn't have an impact because he impacts these other players. Woody's at 8,900. He's averaging 47 over the last 4. I do like him, especially against a Bulls team where big men have been able to put up good numbers. Not keen on Cousins, not keen on Porter. Zach LaVine's at 95. It feels a little bit too high for LaVine, and that's probably because it is. He struggled against the Mavericks today. The shot didn't fall. He's at 32. I'm not 100% against it, but I'm not in totally. With the return of Oladipo and Gordon, players who have been putting up some solid value like Sterling Brown and Jayshawn Tate and even Ben McLemore, it's hard to rely upon those guys as we move forward. Lauri Markkanen's at 6,700. He had a really good performance against the Mavericks, dropping 48 points there. I like him, but I'm not 100% sold. Same with Wendell Carter Jr. If Carter was under 6,000, I'd be in, but at 6,500, I'm just not trusting the minutes he gets, while I'd be hoping for a massive bounce back for Kobe White. And I'd be normally all in on him. But 7,600 is a big price tag for a guy that dropped a hefty 11 points on Sunday. I think it might be too high. I'm probably going to fade off of McLemore with Gordon and Oladipo returning. Same with Tate at 5,100. Well, Garrett Temple went bananas on Sunday. He is at 4,500. He had 36 points. Now, Garrett Temple can do that, and then he can go out and have 4 points. So I wouldn't be reading too much into Temple at that sort of salary. 36, 15, 32, 19. So he's all over the shop, and at 4,500, you can use him as a GPP guy. There is a little bit of value in that, but in terms of him as just an overall cash lock player, you can do better than him. Of course, Anthony Davis and LeBron James are both listed as questionable on the injury report for the Lakers. They host the Golden State Warriors, and they're favored by 9 points. Actually, that's not true. Davis is probable. LeBron is questionable. KCP also questionable, as is Wes Matthews. LeBron is at 9,700. That is a very, very good price for LeBron James. We know how good he is. Of course, he's a 50-point sort of guy, as is Davis at 9.3. But they've been beating teams so comfortably that they haven't really had to extend themselves. I think this one might stay a little bit closer, so I can utilize both of those players. Not massive on Montrezl Harrell, especially for tournaments. But for cash, there is enough floor value there in him at 57, while Steph's at 9,800. Got back on track last game with a big 59-pointer. I don't mind Steph. I just think using LeBron and Davis at those salaries is probably a little bit nicer. That 59-point performance was obviously great from Steph, but I just think there's more value in those other guys. Some whispers from the Warriors that maybe Lee starts over Oubre. I'm not sure that's exactly what they'll do, but there is that opportunity. So Oubre could be a fade at 54. Lee's at 37. And if he does start, I wouldn't be adverse to using him at 37, but he is sort of that low volume player who wouldn't be just garnering super attention, while James Wiseman's at 46. Now, the minutes and production for Wiseman are on the way up, and that's a positive. 33 last game, 22 the game before that. The minutes are starting to rise, 26 and 27. But how's he going to cope with Gasol, Davis, Harrell? How is he going to keep the fouls under control? I worry somewhat about what he's going to do here. I'd only look at him as a GPP guy. I'm not super into Wiseman here, nor am I with Eric Pascal or Marc Gasol. That'll wrap it up for us, looking at MLK Day, looking at the two major slates, the early slate and the late slate. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, give it a thumbs up, and leave a comment down below. Tell us what you think, who you're looking to play, and how you're going with your DraftKings lineup, guys. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.